always understand while you're writing this, you will always need to write the name of the variable and then separate it with some colon, create a pattern, and then log the value. So when this statement comes in the below, you can read it properly. It makes it clear, okay, the value of this is 1, the value of A is what. So try to always have some kind of pattern while you're trying to log in the variables. It makes it easy for identifying. Okay, fine. Okay. So chalo, for now only this. Next, we don't need this. Now, there is a simple command, Ctrl D. It deletes a line. So in IDE, if you just do a Ctrl D, it deletes that particular line rather than trying to do backspace here and there, whichever. If you want to delete, let's say 2-3 lines, you can just select it and do a Ctrl D. So that will help you to delete a particular line. Okay. Ctrl plus D, very much useful. There is another thing. If you want to move the line, okay, for example, something like this. Right now, just see line number 36. Okay, I can just move this line wherever I want. Many a times in the code, you would have to do this. What I'm doing is just Alt and then up and down arrow. You can move the code the way you want. Not just one line. You can, let's say, choose completely like this. The full, highlight it, whatever you want to move. Many times in code, you will need to do this. Highlight the full section, then Alt and then up arrow. The entire piece of code moves up and down arrow. Okay? So this is also very frequently used one. You will need it a lot. Okay? So this is like move code, Alt plus up and down arrow. Okay, whatever you write it, up and down arrow. You will need this also a lot. Okay? Now, another thing. Okay, let's say, for example, we do this, like Ctrl F. We search patterns very commonly, right? Now, there is another way. Okay, let's say you want to search Ctrl F rather than clicking and then trying to click on next button there. There is a simple shortcut. If you click on this response, double click on this response and do a Ctrl K, you can go through the occurrence. Rather than doing Ctrl F, find, and then next, you can simply click whatever variable, whatever name you want to search, and then go Ctrl K. You will pass. Like I'm continuously pressed on Control. I pressed my finger on Control now, and then I'm just doing a K. So it moves in the proper direction. Okay. If I want to move it up, then Ctrl Shift K. So this is also very much required. It helps you to navigate through your code very easily rather than that opening a pop-up of search and then doing the next. Rather than that, this is pretty handy and pretty useful. Okay. So Ctrl K, Ctrl Shift K. Please be aware of this also, day to day, very much required. Okay. Search forward and backward. Ctrl plus K and Ctrl plus Shift plus K. Okay. Okay. Now another thing. Now just try to understand this, guys. Okay. For now, I will just comment this thing. Another thing, be aware in the real-time code. Okay. Let's say you want to rename something like response. If you want to change this response to response student or student response, okay, you want to change this to student response, maybe something like this, student response. Then what happens? All of a sudden the code starts failing at a lot of places, and then you search it, then you apply it. But that's really going to be messy, because sometimes you might have to rename the class, and the class might be used at many places. So in such cases, this simply renaming of variables or class name is going to have a lot of consequence. For example, if you want to rename this class, then you have to change the file name also, and plus all the other places in the code. So this is not a recommended practice. Never modify things just like that and then look at the errors and modify all those things. Don't do that. It is not going to work out properly. So I'm just doing a Ctrl Z. What you need to do whenever you want to rename something in the code, okay, just right click on that, double click, right click. There is an option called as refactor. There is an option of refactor, and then in refactor you can click on rename. The shortcut for that is Alt Shift R. Okay? And then what happens is, if I just click on this rename, now just see, I'm just trying to change this to student. It is modifying all the places at the same time, and it takes care of all the compilation errors automatically. Everything modified. Okay, it modifies it, it's building it. So this is pretty handy when it comes to using it for your day-to-day project, refactor kind of option. Okay, so now let's even note this thing. Okay, let's note this thing. Right click, refactor, and then Alt Shift R. Okay, fine. So let me just write it. So always use this itself, it will be very useful for you. Okay, next, rename via, okay, refactor option. Right click, refactor, and then rename, and the shortcut for that is Alt Shift R, I guess, right? Alt Shift R. Yes, I just press that and it's working. I just change it and then it works. Even file names and everything, it takes care of that. Okay, fine. So just be aware of this. Alt Shift R. Okay, now once we get more things, we will talk about it. But now let's come back here to our coding, what we are doing. Now this is fine. Now we are writing a post method, create student.